Buddy Landel. I don't think we've ever spoke about. Do you know? I think we spoke about him briefly when we were talking about wrestling evangelists. And Buddy apparently became a wrestling evangelist later on in his career. But the first time you met Buddy,
When did I meet Buddy first? I forgot. It may have been in Memphis, to tell you the truth. But Buddy, great guy. I would love to have seen Don West and Buddy Landel together. They were both funny as hell, but Buddy liked to drink and he liked to do recreational drugs. That was really his downfall. They were grooming him to be the second champion after Flair, because that's what his whole character was based on, was Flair, the strut, the whole deal. And they was getting ready to put the belt on Buddy for a short time anyway. But he got on a binge and he missed Atlanta TV. And, if somebody's going to put a belt on you and you miss the most important TV of your career, what's that tell you? You can't depend on it. So that knocked him out, and I quit booking him, and because he became more of a negative than he would be a positive. And that's when he showed up in Memphis. But a great guy, great worker. But what happened to what happened to Buddy later on, he straightened up, went to New York, went to WWF, mm-hmm. But then fell one day. He was brought him for TV. He fell. He hurt himself. And then that's the last I ever heard of Buddy trying to get back into wrestling.
Yeah, he was a replacement for, I believe that pay-per-view was Dean Douglas, a.k.a. Shane Douglas. That was in December 1995 off the top of my head, I think. So
Maybe.
He fell over, ruined his own chances.
Yeah. Well, he slipped outside the hotel, hurt his back, and then he went back home. And he had a daughter who also got killed in a car wreck later on, which really, really messed him up. Mm. And when I heard that they had found him dead, I didn't cry, but I really, I wanted to. But because it was also unnecessary, because Buddy I think he would have been fine without the drugs. If he hadn't used the drugs, I think Buddy Landel, we would be speaking of him today in totally different terms.
Yeah. With Buddy, I wanted to ask one more thing about him. Was obviously, we know that Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, is the first Nature Boy is Buddy Landel, and Ric Flair based that character off him. Whereas Buddy Landel, Nature Boy Buddy Landel, was a carbon copy pretty much of Ric Flair.
Yeah.
How far did that help him? How far did that hinder him from further advancement, you think?
Well, I think this all merges into his drug use, but Buddy could draw some money. He could a great talker. You'd want to strangle him sometime when he got through with an interview. Because you got to put everything on a personal basis. How does a particular talent affect you? And sometimes you can have heels that you like. But Buddy was such a cocky bastard. And if he'd ever really he got heat. And what was your question again? How did it affect him later?
No, the gimmick itself. I mean, do you think it sort of like helped him maybe initially, or do you think it held him back because people just thought, well, it's a second-rate Flair, and he's not his own person?
Well, he was a second-rate Flair. That was obvious. But I think it helped him, because if he was just going to go out there as a straight wrestler, I'm going to make it on my own, because he had the Flair stuff down. He had it down, which of course naturally calls for a match between him and the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And if they had done that right, put a manager with Buddy Landel, and who was a real Nature Boy, they could have taken that a long, long way. Hence, you can see when he missed that live taping, it wasn't live, it was taped, in Atlanta on Saturday morning, whatever year it was, because he had got messed up and missed the plane or missed what he wasn't there, and that's when they wrote him off. That was almost they wrote him a note of saying he might as well have gotten fired, because that's what it ended up doing for him.